Welcome back, Point 3 people, to another exciting episode of the Point 3 podcast. We're excited to have you with us once again as we discuss the latest happenings in the world of superheroes. In this episode, we're previewing Invincible Season 2, Part 1, which premieres on Prime Friday, November 3rd.
And just a quick heads up, we will not be holding back on the spoilers, so consider this your official spoiler warning.
And remember, everybody, we're not just here to talk at you. We want to hear from you. So join the conversation over on our social media channels at Point 3 Podcast. Share your thoughts, your reactions, and even your favorite superhero shows, moments of 2023 so far. Let's make this a truly interactive experience. The links are in the show notes below.
So whether you're a longtime listener or you're just joining us, we're excited to have you here. Get ready for a preview like no other as we don our capes of critique and take flight into the heart of Invincible. This is your friendly neighborhood podcast, and we're about to web sling our way into the world of heroes and villains once more. Now, everyone, get ready for a treat because we have a guest today who's all about the super genre life. Give it up for our friend and expert, Rome's.
That's right, Rome's is here to geek out with us today, and you're going to love their take on everything Invincible.
That's right. We've known Rome's for a little bit now, and his passion for these shows, books, and everything is just off the charts. So, Rome's, we're going to pass it over to you now. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell the listeners a little bit about yourself. How did you get into the superhero fandom, comics, movie shows, everything?
Okay, so it's a real personal journey for me. When I got into comics, it's not like everybody else. I know I've seen lots of people talk about it. My thing is that my dad died when I was 8 of cancer, and I was pretty young at the time. Honestly, he didn't even like me playing with toys. He was kind of rough on me, and him dying on top of that. But the Spider-Man movie came out, and it was the perfect time. He was young. I was young. I was getting picked on just like him. And I really related, and I picked up at the book fair. It was the Spider-Man retelling of the origins of Stan Lee. And I was hooked. Teen Titans came out. And I went to the local Barnes and Nobles because comic book stores weren't really a thing, that big of a thing. It was mainly like toy stores. And I collected the toys that had like the comics in the back, but sorry, it's kind of hard to talk
Take
about
your time.
that. So I went to Barnes and Nobles and I picked up the Teen Titans trades, and I got really hooked after that. I didn't know comics could get that violent. My mom got me more into it, and then I was on and off all the time when I was younger, mainly because I was paying out of my own pocket. I would do little things here and there to like go buy the action figure from I don't know if the audience knows these, the Marvel Legends from like back in the 90s by Toy Biz. Those were like awesome figures. And I would always read the comic in the back. I'm one of those who takes the toy out of the package to like pose them next to like the shelf. But then I got really into collecting comics after a breakup. And that's what kind of led me here to be here with y'all, because it was kind of a hard breakup, and I always spent my money on her. So now I had money to buy Omnis, and those are the big books. And I doubled down, and I ended up getting a little shelf and a big shelf, and then 3 big shelves, and now 4. So, but I mean, it's helped me a lot through the years to get through a lot of stuff. And Invincible is one of those shows and comic series that really kind of sparked my interest, because it felt like Superman and Spider-Man put together in one comic / series. And now I'm here talking with y'all. Sorry for the little bit emotional parts, but yeah.
Listen, I think I can speak for all of us and everyone listening. We appreciate you sharing that with us. I think in one way or another, there's something that triggered an event to get us to this point, right? And to have us become passionate fans. And it's a lifestyle, right? And listen, we were just extremely excited to have you on this episode today to share what you've shared with us, and for the future things that we're going to talk about here. And listen, as we dive into Invincible and the preview of season 2, what's your personal take on season 1 specifically as it relates to what most claim as a faithful adaptation of source material?
Oh, it's very faithful. I've read up to like 32, issue 32. And I don't know if I'm gonna press any buttons, but the first 10 issues got got compacted into one episode in the beginning. Cause I'm not gonna lie, the first couple of issues were kind of hard because it just felt very generic until the whole and spoilers, because we're gonna spoil this, right, guys?
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Season
So
one. If you
whenever
haven't-
Omni Man took everyone out, the broke Justice League.
The Guardians of the Globe.
Yeah. When that happened in the comic, I was like, I am hooked. And after that, I just kept reading because it gets addictive because you want to know what happens. But there's they'll literally use like lines from the comic to the actual show, and because it's the same creator, though it seems like he has like a second chance to like make the story again. So he's pushing stuff forward and moving stuff a little back and teasing stuff. I haven't got that far deep into it, but all I'll say is I'm ready for the Battle Beast rematch.
Man, that's all you had to say. That is literally all you had to say. I think I saw something on social media the other day where it was, I don't know if it was Invincible HQ posted it, someone did, where it was like the tiers or where you can spend of like buy your characters, you have $25 to spend. And it was like Omni Man and Mark were on the top, and then Battle Beast was like the 20 with Adam Eve, and then it was like Robot and what the heck is his name? With the Cecil. I couldn't think of his name. Cecil and all them, and it was just like, do I take Omni Man for $20 and throw the other 5 away? Or do I get Battle Beast and just squat up with Cecil? I don't know.
Just wait till second season.
And that's such a unique thing, though, right? And it goes to the popularity of Invincible, because how many shows out there get the same creator, right? In this case, the writer Robert Kirkman, to work on it, and to really get to hone in after years of learning and growing your craft. Because for those that don't know, Invincible was his first book. So he obviously, and he's gone on record saying he's made mistakes. He would change certain things. How cool is that to now be able to 20 some odd years later get to work on it and get to really fix everything and create a a fan base that is as passionate as they are about this series.
Well, they're supposed to chime in.
It's amazing.
Whoever, it's just so neat.
Like they
Reminds
changed
me
their
of
girlfriend
the-
too. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
All good. I was gonna say it just reminds me of how Oda is taking place in the Netflix One Piece show. I've never watched. I have tried watching One Piece. Too many episodes. But I haven't attempted the Netflix show. But from what I've heard, it's a pretty damn good adaptation. And a lot of people say it's because Oda had his hand in it.
What
But
what is it for you guys just in general? Rome's, I'll start with you. Like, from a faithful adaptation, what is it that you see from what you've read, but also what you've seen that they animated? Like, what are the pieces that really like call to you and that you draw out and you're just like, man, that's it. Like, that is it. That's what makes this great.
I gotta say it's the father-son dynamic for me, and how they kind of like doubled down on it. Because watching it a second time, like you kind of pick up on the cues for the whole Omni Man gonna turn, or was he really just pretending to be? I think that's the dynamic I like the most, especially rewatching it. Is was it? Did he really care, or did he? Or was he just holding back this whole time? And I think that's the most special and unique aspect of what makes this series great.
It's that thing of, like you said, and we're a big fan on this channel. If you guys have been listening to us for a while, we like when things have stakes. And Invincible, every fight, every episode, every conversation, every interaction has stakes to it. Especially in season one, where I mean, you think about it, normally how much of a subversion of expectation it is, especially if you knew nothing about Invincible, where clearly Omni-Man is the Superman stand-in.
Mm-hmm.
And you normally know Superman. He's the Boy Scout, the good boy, doesn't kill, is for the people. And they show you that Omni-Man is kind of like that. But then to switch that around with this brutal side of basically killing the Justice League, how shocking would that be if Superman killed the Justice League and this does it? And the fallout of that has stakes immediately from the get-go and makes you invested to see, well, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
Like, how is he going to be able to hide that? Because you know that it's going to come out somehow. And what is that going to mean for his family and, the world?
And I think that the only other show for me that I've felt that Superman stand-in adaptation that has been done at such a high, very successful level was in My Hero Academia with All Might. To where you see a superpowered OP character where really nothing's going to stop him. And you're just kind of like, what is it going to take? And when they do something that, it looks like that's fitting for a criminal, you're looking like, where's the red kryptonite? Where's something that's corrupting him? Who's doing this? Who's pulling the strings? And then he's just like, this is just me. This is who I am. And you're like, no, you can't do that. Like, no one can stop you. You can't do that. No, you can't. And you launch into this whole new journey with Mark. And like you had mentioned, I definitely got that vibe. If you took a super character like a Superman level and then you incorporate a Spider-Man, I mean, Spider-Man, no, if Spider-Man had that Superman-esque like characterization, if you will, backstory in a way, would that be something that's going to pique your interest? And did Invincible do that for you too?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I feel like Spider-Man kind of has it. He's not obviously no like super unkillable god or like power scale wise, but he's got his good like Boy Scout type traits that Superman has. So definitely still pique my interest, but sorry, can you repeat the question? I'm confused by it.
Do you just like Invincible, Mark, the character?
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah, I thought Mark's character was awesome. The whole like looking up to your dad type storyline and then realizing he's a dick and not the person that you thought he was. So there's cool twist into his character journey. But I like Mark and everything that he tries to do with his powers to help the greater good, just like Spider-Man and what superheroes should do.
I thought you were going to pull the parallels to Miles Morales. Dude, I feel like Mark is closer to Miles than not for some of the things that we've seen with his dynamic with his family. Not so much the dad aspect of things, but like with his mom, him learning who he is, the love interest type of thing. Like that, I definitely, I feel more Miles than I do Peter sometimes with him.
Same. And I think that's just a testament to what Miles is doing in the mainstream right now. But another big thing, another big aspect of Invincible that appeals to people is how brutal it really gets. And maybe Rome's, you can speak on this. Why is that interesting to people? And what makes Invincible unique in this aspect? Because at this point, The Boys was out. So having a violent Superman, violent superhero show is not really a newer thing. It's already kind of done, but Invincible still stands out. So, and Rome's, maybe you can talk why that is.
First off, the reason why it's like that, because the guy's name is Invincible. But if you watch the show, he looks pretty invincible if you don't ask.
I mean,
but,
yeah. 100%.
But in reality, I think what really makes it separate from The Boys is really dark, right? And like with this, it balances the dark with the light. Like at the ending, whenever the fight with on the mountain with well, not even a fight, it was more like a beatdown.
Yeah.
And when he was taking down Mark, and it goes back to his childhood, how she's trying to get Omni-Man to feel for the love of their son. And I think balancing that light, having an emotional connection with the audience, with your characters, really, really separates this from The Boys. Because The Boys is entertaining, don't get me wrong, but at times it's not really who's the good guy, who's the bad guy. And this one is pretty clear. And just a hint, it might not always be like that, but right now, that's what I feel that really separates Invincible from The Boys. But brutality wise, I mean, Battle Beast, man. When he licked lips, I was like, this guy is something else. When he started licking the lips after he just like got drenched and all that, and I was like, homie's got problems, or he
Yeah, no, you hit the nail on the head on that, because I truly also think that Invincible is almost a exploration of those mature themes within a more normal setting of superheroes, right? Where it's basically like, how brutal would a Superman fight be if it wasn't, censored in that way? That's what Invincible feels like. Whereas in The Boys, it's very much a satire and we're going to do certain things for shock value, and if you've watched it, there's a lot of things that are done just for the either laughs of it or just to make the audience go, oh my God. Yeah. But Invincible makes you say that, but it's also in a very serious context of what's going on. And you had a very good example, the Mark beatdown. It's disturbing to see a father beat the crap out of his son near death and insulting him and doing all these things. But it still felt, in this world of fiction, bringing those realistic points and making people ask, wow, what would this be like for Mark? Because you think, yeah, for the world, obviously it's an issue if Omni-Man's evil, but how much more painful this is for Mark that his father's doing this.
Listen, you nailed that. And I think the way that they portray the human elements through Mark and his mom and the relationship that they have, and then you add Omni-Man on two fronts, right? There's the super Omni-Man and there's the homebody Omni-Man, right? The home father Omni-Man, where you think everything is, he's like, I'm going to scoop you up and let's go to Italy. You want some spaghetti? Let's get the best spaghetti. I'll do anything I want for you. All right, Mark, let's play ball. Let's play catch in the backyard. But this whole time, when you get that big reveal at the end, it's like, the fact that they showed you as much as they showed you, and that you can question and say, he wasn't into it. Like, that guy has been pretending for that long to not be interested in any of these things. And he's thinking like, I can't wait to destroy this world. Like, I got to sit here and play catch. I got to eat this food. These people are so frail. I have to hold back all the time. So ultimately, when you get to that Mark beatdown, you feel that because you're like, all of the things they built up in this show all come onto you at one time. And they pull in the other, like, and the curveball and the side piece of this is Cecil. I think he brings such an interesting perspective through season 1 to show you he's kind of that moral compass of like, I need to do what I need to do, but at the same time, like, Omni-Man, you definitely shouldn't be doing that. You know what I mean? Like a battle beast, you definitely shouldn't be doing that. We need protectors. We need to do what we need to do, but I don't want to see you do that. I don't want to see you go through that. I don't want to see people getting smashed in Chicago and just getting absolutely wrecked. Like, there needs to be someone who holds the supers accountable. And that's where I like Cecil when he comes in.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Roms. Is Cecil as big a part of the comic in that first arc as he is in season 1? I feel like he's not, but I could be wrong on that.
The first arc is mainly about is mainly that first episode where you get to know the family and then what happens to the Guardians of the Globe, and then Cecil jumps in. So it's kind of like it's pretty faithful. Like it's pretty, but I'll just hint: Cecil and Mark might not always see eye to eye. If that's a vague way to put it in the future.
I could see that. And I think that would be like a tie-in to like a Civil War kind of thing. You know what I mean? From the Marvel people, where it's like, how much control is too much control? You shouldn't control me. Like, you're not my dad. I can totally see them coming through and he's telling Mark what to do. And Mark's like, you're not my dad. Like, don't tell me what to do. I'm going to do whatever I want. I'd be interested to see if they butt heads in that way. You might have muted or...
My bad. It's more going to be like, you need to do this X, Y, and Z, and he might, because of Omni-Man, the way he reacted to the world, it's kind of like, well, he might be a threat type of ordeal too. So
bringing that in, I just want to talk about that real quick and open this up. Obviously, we referenced Mark's ending of the season in terms of the big revelation of Omni-Man is not Father of the Year, is not the best guy, right? How does he deal with balancing what's to come, right? Stepping and taking a bigger responsibility to be the new Omni-Man for the government and the world, balancing the pressure of just being a regular person with his friends, his girlfriend, Amber, being a son to his mom, and then ultimately, hiding a secret identity, fighting criminals, all while knowing Omni-Man is still out there. How does he possibly handle all that?
Up next, I don't want to give anything away. This is hard. How much of a hint can I give?
What did you think back then, though?
Oh, back then?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I felt like, well, what's gonna, like, how's he? One, it took the emotional take after this. He's kind of like, it's kind of like the, what do you call it? The hero's journey, or like, what's the other one where the kid grows up? What's that
coming of age kind of thing?
Yeah.
So what?
Coming of age?
Yeah, it's a coming of age, because now it's no longer fun. It's serious. And that's how it'll be from now on, after the whole Omni-Man giving him the beating of the year. And he tries to keep his sense of morality and sense of justice in his own, but not like bad, but I mean, like, he tries to do the right thing still. So that's why I kind of think it feels more like a Spider-Man type of thing, where it's more about the power responsibility, but without saying it blatantly, or referencing the Marvel comic. Because if you think about it, a lot of these characters, they look like they're pulled from a bunch of like Marvel and DC. Because like the one that reminded me of Luke Cage was the guy who turned into a bunch of rocks. I forgot what his name is. But even him, he's going to come back because Mark helped him to become the new Kingpin.
Yep.
So it's going to be dealing with a lot of stuff, man.
That was wild.
It's so exciting. And so, Spider-Man, I'm gonna kick this to you because anybody that knows you on the point 3, they know you love your morality duality.
Sir.
Is there any particular moral situation that you want to see Mark go through?
That I want to see him go through?
Or either that you want or that you think might happen.
Well, from the season 2 trailer, there's one. We're about to talk about the trailer, obviously, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So from the trailer, you get to see that one multiversal or different like evil Mark. That's I want to see them fight. I want to see Prime Mark. I'm gonna call our Mark that we know, obviously, as Prime Mark, and then that Mark. I want to see them like quarrel up, freaking Daredevil, Punisher, rooftop scene type argument, just beat the crap out of each other. I think that'll be fucking awesome. So I choose them because obviously it's him versus himself. Like we're just kind of seeing with Loki, him versus himself with Loki and Sylvie a little bit, and their different ideologies or like viewpoints. So I would like to see like what caused that Mark to go off the rails and how our Prime Mark can maybe like fix him, or I don't know. I'm sure they'll have plenty of dialogue with each other if they ever interact. I know nothing about what's gonna happen in season 2. I've never read any Invincible like content or anything, so I'm here for the ride.
You muted yourself.
Get ready for the ride.
Oh, I'm excited.
No, that's
But they from what I know about the series in general, they touch all the tropes, all the superhero tropes, the multiversal stuff, everything. So be prepared for a lot of tropes, but they do it in a way where Marvel and DC won't like commit fully to them and then like wash them away eventually. No, they have lasting effects.
and
As
that's
it should be.
And I was going to say, that's what's so exciting. Because one big thing that I'm incredibly excited about is seeing the fallout and how the world reacts to Omni-Man going heel, going bad.
Yeah.
Because it's like, again, that's such a big event. And if you think about it in terms of like his parallel of Superman, it would be such a earth-shattering thing if Superman was just like, I've been evil this whole time.
Yeah.
How like that just affects the world, but also again, how that affects Mark and those relationships around him, knowing that Omni-Man is his father, and basically the strongest, one of the strongest, well, the strongest, hero and being to them, at least right now in the known universe. How that just what happens? What do people think? How does Mark think? I'm excited.
Dude, that Mark thinking piece is what you guys have been talking about, that multiversal exploration of an evil side of him. What a great way to, in this case, flesh out a character that they've introduced in terms of seeing like, this is what you can become. Like, is this a new fear of Mark being like, I'm supposed to be Omni-Man. I'm supposed to be like him. All Viltrumites are like you, right? Who does he come across who's from that planet? Are they from a different multiverse? Is it someone different? And just really doubling down on defining his moral compass and who he really wants to be. I have all the power in the world. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll see where it goes. But at this point, based on his power, it's a choice. And what is going to guide him to continue to make the right choice, which in this case I feel would be save everyone that you can because you have the power to do so. What does that look like?
There will also be more Viltrumites coming soon as well. So be prepared for that. That fight right there. That's all I'll say. There's gonna be another fight with Viltrumites, but different ones. Oh man, I can't wait for that one to be live action. But I won't say too much. I'm sorry, but I had to say that one. I had to say that one because I'm really excited for that fight.
What was the
viewers know which one it is? It's the one with the shaved head with the big mustache, and he's the one that looks kind of like built like the Hulk. That's all I'll say. But that fight right there, when don't want to. Okay, I'll review my
Rome's, let me ask you this, because there are a couple things when I think of this Viltrumites multiverse, other bad versions, and you have like Omni-Man level-ish people. What was the last thing that you've watched live action where they attempted to do this and really didn't succeed? Or maybe it's something that you read recently.
That's a hard one. Like what do you mean? Like the superhero fights?
Like a Superman. I think back to, like, I watched Lois and Superman and Lois, and the whole Zod thing and Kryptonite and Kryptonians and all that kind of stuff, and you're like, oh man, they're bad news, like bad Kryptonians, here we go. And it's like it never really hit how you kind of would think it would. Very self-contained, quick resolution, we moved on, and the hero lives to see another day. There's really no lasting effect type of thing.
So, like, how Hero Scrolls said that there's lasting effects and that there's repercussions and things that actually, like, once a certain event happens, it's kind of like a domino effect, and that's what's going to happen soon. Because how do I say this without spoiling anything? He sees. Okay, so this is hard.
We have a super spoiler warning that's flashing across.
Yeah, y'all are gonna get spoiled too, man. Like, it's not even. It's okay. So when he meets these other Viltrumites, he won't be so weak like he was with his own dad. But because they're not holding back, because they're not his dad, makes it even scarier, because these characters in the blink of an eye, boom, like it can all be over for someone. And because it's a series that we don't like, it's not a Marvel or DC, like what you said, it's not a Marvel or DC book, or series. There's not gonna be a, like, oh, we'll all be back together again, happy. No, it's like,
okay, happy friends. Yeah.
It's gonna change after this. It's like, like I guess a regular series where they don't have to like continue the storyline over and over again. This one, whenever something happens, you're just left with shock and awe, and you're like, oh, what's gonna happen next? Like, because they already did the trope, but the trope didn't end like the way it did in Marvel or DC. And like, now you're like just excited with all this anticipation of like, yo, what's gonna happen next? You can't just leave us like that. But
I think a very good that was awesome. And again, that just generates more excitement for Invincible, I think, for all of us. But to answer Lou's question, I think the first thing that came to mind when you asked about this was Batman versus Superman. Where it felt like this should have been an event for the ages. We should have been talking about this fight like one of the best things ever. And here we are, some years later, and we're like, remember how crap that was? The whole thing. Not
the
just
worst $60 I ever spent.
Right? Like what?
Not the worst. And I bought everyone's ticket for IMAX at that
time. And that's the thing, right? Like, it's not even just God, you guys got to stop watching these in IMAX.
That's why you got to go to movies alone, man.
Yeah. But like, not aside from the Batman versus Superman fight, you think about like Doomsday, where Doomsday should have felt like like Thanos felt in a way. It was like, oh crap, Doomsday's here. And then when Doomsday came out, we're like, oh, Doomsday's here.
It looked like a troll.
He did, and he looked like a turd, like a giant turd.
Dude, I saw better turds in Lord of the Rings with those.
Exactly. And then he dies. What? Not even 10 minutes later. in a very weird fight.
Well,
Yeah.
you don't get Justice League without that moment. Come on now.
Okay.
But
The
Wonder
yell
Woman
heard
was
round the
badass in
world.
that one. I'm not gonna lie. Wonder Woman was probably the standout of that movie. But she was
She
like there
was.
for like 15 seconds. I mean 15 minutes.
Yeah,
Same thing in that movie.
exactly. But again, it's like that whole fight just let us down where it's very comforting to know that if you're an Invincible fan, those fights are probably going to deliver.
Hmm.
And it's nice because I think it's the one thing that I've heard. Listen, I'll take spoilers all day long. I have no problem with spoilers. Some things I choose if I want to continue on or not, right? But I think right now in a lot of mediums, super mediums, if you will, there's two things that we're missing. One, they don't feel super. Invincible feels super all the time. And two, you can lean into moments because you know that you can feel them and then just go all in with it. And you're just like, I'm just going to commit to feeling this in this moment because I know that they're going to follow it up and give me something more later down the road or the very next scene. Right. Super quick though. Adam Eve. Rome's, what's your thought? I know that there was a special,
Yeah,
give us a
it
quick
was
refresher.
it was good. Like it gives a different perspective to so like when rewatching the show, after watching that, dude, it's you feel for the girl, man. Like
Mhm.
it's tragic. And I heard Rex Explode is just as like his origins is just as tragic, but hers, like, dude, the girl's been through the ringer, man. Like, I feel bad for being in the like I would feel bad if I was a superhero in the Invincible universe. Like, man, I don't know if I could do that, you know? Like I don't know, because I mean, she has a very great moral, like more like she has a strong morality, but the things that happen to her, like because she's kind of like that saving grace or
Mhm.
what's it called, like the white angel,
Yeah.
but she never gets like put down because of the circumstances around her. But knowing her background makes it a little more sadder when you're rewatching the show
Mhm.
without spoiling what happened in there. But
What you said, that fight on the highway when she's fighting all the other
yeah,
creations of like, it's very hard for a show to showcase someone's power, who they are, and still wanting the fight to save you versus fight to destroy you. And then you ultimately have that decision of like, do I do it? And then bam, something happens and it's just like, I wanted to save them, but they're gone. And I feel that now.
yeah, it felt very because my girlfriend, she loves Hero Academia. It kind of felt like a Hero Academia fight, in my opinion, from what I've seen. And that fight, it had its emotional beats along with the fight, and I think that's what really separates the Invincible universe from other universes. That the fight is always emotional stakes in it, and I think that's what the great payoff is in this show. And doing what they did with Invincible to Adam and Eve, even a little tease with Omni Man at the end. I don't know if you remember that, where he looked like he was about to snap, but
Yeah.
I mean, it was great. Definitely worth
Uh,
it.
that's the cool thing about this universe they're building, where when you get a lot of superhero universes, you don't always get every single hero's like backstory in that way. And I think of it as in like the sense of when you get like those old fashioned cartoons like Justice League Unlimited, some of the cool stuff is like you get to see a hot girl, centric episode. You get a John Stewart centric episode. You get a Batman episode. And it feels like this is what they're doing with those one shots where they make you care for other people besides Eve, Well, now if Eve comes out for only, one episode, not saying that's going to happen, but if she were only to come out in one episode, it would be so cool to see her and be like, whoa, Eve's back, knowing what she's been through, you can appreciate that a lot more.
Oh, you muted again. I think you're off mute.
Yeah, my bad. I keep muting it and I unmuted. My bad. I think you end up learning to love her at the end of that episode, because now you know her journey and now you know what she's been through. So it kind of like gives her an extra layer of depth that the show couldn't provide for her at the time. But I hope we get more of these because I felt like this one. I mean, I felt like it's a smart way to expand your universe without trying to dedicate a whole entire show or episode.
It definitely made a season 1 rewatch feel different with having newfound perspective on her and doing what she did. I didn't feel the same way. Definitely did not feel the same way.
For sure. All right, one quick question before we sign off. One last question just to tee up season 2. And Spider Brando, we can start it with you and go around how we kind of are in our little square circle here. Spider Brando, who is the character you are most excited to see come back?
Besides Mark, just because the show was literally about him, I'm gonna say Adam Eve. I haven't watched her special yet, but she was the character I was very fond of from season 1, and always thought Mark should have went with her first. I was not a fan of his other love interest. I forgot her name at the moment.
Amber.
Not Amber. Yeah, dude. Every time she was on screen, I wanted to just fucking like, oh my god, I hated her.
She didn't know. Okay, she didn't know.
Yeah, but like,
slack. She just wanted to go to college.
Nah, dude. I don't care. She just wasn't that good of like a well-written character. So she could stay in season 1. I'm all about Adam Eve for season 2 and seeing what they can do, especially if they gave her like a spin-off special. I think that's kind of to tee her up for a nice season 2. And now, after your guys' explanation of the Adam Eve special, I think I'm gonna watch it this weekend. Or perhaps
it's good.
Discord watch party for
Great.
it.
Hey, I'll rewatch it with y'all. I'll rewatch it.
I'm down for that.
That's nice. All right, Rome's, who's your most exciting character? Or who's the character you're most excited for?
For like a return or just return?
Yeah, return.
Omni-Man. Omni-Man for sure. Because after that tear he left, whenever he lifted off of Earth, you know he cares. Even though he's kind of psychotic, but he cares.
Yeah. Lou.
Does he, or was he just like, man, I didn't get to finish my mission on Earth. Earth is still standing. I'm sad. Listen, I need to see more from Robot. I want to see more from Robot. Battle Beast for just a spectacle. But Robot, I kind of got invested in season 1. It's always a character that I look forward to, and I hope that some way, somehow, I don't know, we get a little bit more.
I like that. I'm gonna have to agree with Rome's though. Omni-Man, because let's be honest, you don't get more epic than a crossover with Mortal Kombat and Omni-Man. So Omni-Man's gonna take it, at least for me.
Hopefully I can beat you this time.
You probably can.
Is he out? He's out in the game already?
Not yet.
No, he's coming out, I think, 2 days from now.
Yeah, the 6th, I think, is the rumored. There hasn't been like an official thing, but it's like been leaked. It's supposedly the 6th.
I still got to get that game. I still got to freaking grind Spidey. Oh, before we go head out, actually, I have one question that I'm surprised we haven't talked about yet. Will Josh Keaton's Spider-Man be in Invincible season 2? There's been so many rumors just based off of one one tiny pixel of this freaking like comic book on a coffee table that resembles the Invincible Spider-Man crossover from the comics or whatever.
Oh,
there's been a tiny snippet, and given this multiversal strategy, Sony has the TV rights to Sony Amazon have a TV deal going on or something for like Spider-Man streaming rights. for like episodes over 40 minutes or something. It's some weird deal. And we've seen Josh Keaton in his name in the trailer. So I'm gonna hope for the best, but do I think it's gonna happen? Probably not.
One day there should be a one-off, like a one-shot, where we just get a massive crossover. Bring the boys, bring Invincible, bring MCU characters, bring DC characters.
He has a
And
crossover
just-
with Spawn too.
Huh?
Spawn?
Ooh.
Oh,
yeah.
a
There's a
Spawn.
Spawn one too.
What?
That's
Yeah,
wild.
you
I
can
did
look
not
it
know
up. There's a Spawn one too.
I did not know that. I knew about the Spider-Man one, but a Spawn. Oh God, I might have to look into that later on.
I'm
That's
sorry, I didn't mean to.
No. That's
No,
I would be down. Bring on the multiverse.
Oh yeah.
Bring on the
That's how we
multiverse.
finally get DC versus Marvel.
through Invincible.
Or
Through
Mortal Kombat
Invincible. Throw some Capcom in there too.
Stop,
Mortal
stop,
Kombat.
Stop. We're gonna burn the internet down. with
Throw
all
Star
these
Wars in there too while we're at it.
Okay, but isn't there a world where there's a game where all these characters, at least a few main characters, should exist?
in the
Ready
Invincible
Player
world,
One.
maybe.
You're not wrong.
Wow. It's been a great pleasure having you, Rome's, and being able to talk Invincible with you. So thanks for tuning in to this episode from the Point 3 podcast. Don't forget to join us on Wednesdays at 9:05 p.m. Eastern Time for our YouTube live stream, where we will be discussing the latest news, reviews, insider scoops. Also, catch the full episode of our podcast anywhere you listen. If you're watching Invincible this week, Friday, November 3rd, when it drops, I believe, let us know your thoughts over at Point 3 Podcast on Instagram or TikTok so that we can feature your comments on our next review episode. Until then, all you Point 3 people, keep watching, keep reading, and keep nerding out.